This is the most surprising flop moment in Forged in Fire. With one strike, the blade fell apart completely. The top-tier championship final suddenly turned into a farce. To boost the show's appeal, the host specially invited 3 champion contestants to take part in a real-life ultimate challenge. They were required to stack 50 layers of Damascus steel within 5 hours and forge a unique short blade. In addition to the blade, the rounded pommel of the handle and the guard, all being made of stacked Damascus steel. The steel billets for the 3 components also had to be forged separately. As the countdown officially began, the 3 contestants got to work one after another. After receiving the steel, Jamie didn't start forging in a hurry. Instead, he first conducted a careful inspection of the steel. His plan was to stack 20 layers first, then overlap and stack the resulting new steel billets, thereby obtaining 60 layers of Damascus steel. After performing initial heat treatment on the steel billet, Jamie directly used a power hammer to start fusing the steel billet. During continuous hammering at a 45-degree angle, the fused steel billet actually started to delaminate. This left Jamie somewhat shocked. However, to avoid disrupting the subsequent process, Jamie didn't hesitate at all. He immediately fired up the angle grinder, and amid flying sparks, he easily removed the delaminate layers. On the other side, Joshua also decided to first stack 20 initial layers, then carry out multi-layer fusion and stacking. But what made him more experimental than Jamie was his decision to show off a triple twisted steel cladding technique. Considering the tight schedule, Joshua decided to make the steel billets needed for all 3 components at the same time. After finishing the heating of the steel billets, Joshua first used a press to forge weld the billets vertically, then optimized them through horizontal forge welding, and afterwards used a power hammer for continuous hammering and fusion. Unlike the previous 2 contestants, the experienced Mike appeared much more cautious. He didn't start forging first. Instead, through precise calculations and a design sketch, he estimated the time required for each forging step. Faced with the tight schedule, he finally decided to forge the 3 steel billets simultaneously. After heating the 3 pieces of Damascus steel, he used a combination of a press and a power hammer for forge welding, and even took the time to make timely adjustments with a hand hammer at critical moments. His skillful operation speed and well-judged forging force soon got him to the second stacking stage. Meanwhile, Joshua also started to elongate the steel billet. Once the billet took shape, he resolutely used the press to cut it. Right after that came one of the most spectacular skill-displaying moments of the competition, twisting the Damascus steel. Under Joshua's manipulation, beautiful spiral patterns began to appear on the red-hot steel billet. He still needed to carry out a second stacking process to get the ideal steel billet. As time ticked away minute by minute, Jamie's blade blank was also basically formed. In order to win the judges' praise, he even specially ground double-sided trapezoidal reverse patterns on the blade blank. As for Mike beside him, he had not yet finished making his blade blank. Fortunately, he had completed the handle pommel and guard in advance. Next, he only needed to grind and finish the blade. The most anxious one at the moment was Joshua, who had just obtained his steel billet. Although his earlier move of twisting the Damascus steel was extremely impressive, his progress was now clearly lagging behind. Watching the countdown on the wall and seeing Mike and Jamie successively finish quenching their blades nearby, he had no choice but to speed up. With only 1 hour left, Mike started assembling the entire blade. He first used a drill to make a hole in the guard, then used a file to adjust the details, and afterwards began making the handle. The next moment, the blade blank Joshua had long been looking forward to finally came out of the forge. But without taking time to check the quality of the blade blank, he directly completed the quenching process. Although he had not yet finished the guard and handle pommel, Joshua was clearly very confident in his blade. He couldn't help but start cheering on the competition floor. In sharp contrast to Joshua was Jamie, who had just made a mistake. The imitation ivory handle he had spent half an hour refining actually broke accidentally. Helplessly, he had to make a new handle from scratch. With only 10 minutes left in the competition, Mike suddenly had a new idea. He planned to carefully make a stacked handle. As the countdown was about to end, whether the 3 contestants could successfully finish their work within the specified time. Let's wait and see. This is the wildest blacksmithing technique in Forged in Fire, the magical water forging method. With just a few hammer strikes, scrap iron residues turn directly into a premium blank, and the only contestant bold enough to show off such skills in a timed challenge is none other than the top-tier blacksmith known as the Prodigy with unmatched craftsmanship, Ilya the Magical Blacksmith. To surprise the competition, Ilya collected a large amount of scrap iron and steel. His goal this time is to use the scrap iron before him to perfectly replicate the Nichiren sword from Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. In the classic anime Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the dual-handled Nichiren sword wielded crosswise, possesses incredible power, capable of slicing through whirlwinds and chaos without a trace. As a passionate top-tier blacksmith, Ilya naturally couldn't miss this opportunity. He gathered all the collected scrap iron and put it into the forge for heating in one go. The red-hot steel billet is tightly bonded together through fold forging and hammering, and each strike effectively removes impurities from the billet. After just a few hammer blows, sparks and debris fly from the red-hot steel. Such wild and straightforward forging is hard to pull off without real skill, and the reason Ilya dares dares to make such a bold attempt is his proficient water forging technique. After repeated hammering and casting, Ilya successfully obtained a fused steel billet. Next comes the crucial part of forging the sword. Ilya first positions the shaping die correctly, then uses a power hammer to form the steel billet into a U-shape. He then sandwiches high-carbon steel inside the U-shaped steel. 4 3-layer composite forging. This forging concept draws on the ancient Chinese techniques of 100 refined steel and steel cladding. A few years ago, to forge a Chinese Miao Dao, Ilya specially visited Chinese master craftsmen and learned this unique craft. It is precisely because of this experience that Ilya handled the task of cladding high-carbon steel with 100 refined steel, the process more difficult than Damascus steel forging, with remarkable smoothness. After the steel billet is perfectly fused, Ilya begins making the blade tip using hot cutting techniques. He takes out various dies he commonly uses, combines the dies with the machine, and works with manual labor to stretch and elongate the blade through continuous high-pressure shaping and forging. Although these are Ilya's personal tools, they work extremely well. After a series of operations, he not only lengthens the blade, but also creates the blade's curvature. Of course, this is only the initial shaping of the sword. The details still need to be polished and refined. Without the slightest hesitation, Ilya directly picked up the power hammer and got to work, repeatedly adjusting the blade edge and grooves of the steel billet to ensure the size perfectly matches the target. Once the blade was basically formed, Ilya handed the sword to Yurichi Tsujikuni beside him. To complete the entire sword, he still needed the help of this friend. After Yurichi Tsujikuni processed the blade with a grinder, the circular curved edge of the blade was also finished. Next came the important quenching stage. To perfectly present the Nikkarin sword, Ilya chose water quenching. Considering the need to strictly control time and temperature, Ilya operated it personally. As the red-hot blade slowly submerged into the water in the bucket splashed instantly. After completing the water quenching, Ilya put the sword into the tempering furnace. Immediately after, Ilya hurried to make the hilt accessories. He first made the tsuba guard with mild steel, then covered it with polished brass. To make the entire sword look more authentic, Ilya fixed the selected brass with a machine and began to carve carefully. Finally, he covered the outer layer of the hilt with green mother of pearl and decorated it with Japanese-style wrapping. On the other side, Yurichi Tsujikuni didn't stop either. To achieve the perfect effect from the anime, after taking the blade out of the tempering furnace, he took turns using grinding tools to process the blade details. After a round of polishing, the 100 refined steel patterns on the blade looked delicate and unique. After perfectly combining the hilt and the blade, Ilya also engraved characters on the blade, a special mark from Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. This sword, which carries Ilya's passionate hero dream, looks extremely handsome. In the upcoming strength test, how will this sword perform? Let's wait and see. He is the craziest genius champion in the Forged in Fire competition. He is a true madman who set fire to the venue just to get materials. He is the only violent swordsman whose self-test scenes surpass the strength test. What's more, he is the second legend to win the double champion title since the competition started. He is Travis, the sword maniac. Faced with such a strong contestant as Travis, the program team naturally wanted to put him to a good test. They not only invited powerful opponents to compete against him, but even spared no expense to use an entire car as forging material. Using such tough materials to forge a short knife with personal characteristics was also a first for Travis. However, strong men never fear challenges. Looking at the car in front of him, Travis quickly came up with an idea. He planned to make a recurved short blade from spring steel. After the initial design, the contestants picked up angle grinders one after another to collect materials, but Travis picked up a spray gun. In the next moment, he sprayed fiercely at the car, sparks flying everywhere on the scene. After the handsome showmanship, the place almost caught fire, thanks to the staff's timely assistance in putting out the fire. But this mistake did not dampen Travis' enthusiasm. After calming down, he tried again. Finally, he obtained the spring steel in the raging fire, but it took too long to collect the materials, and Travis was already behind the others at this time. Tom, who also used spring steel next to him, had already started forging the knife shape. After hitting the heated blade blank with a hand hammer, he put the blade blank under the stamping machine to shape and grind the tang. Morgan used the stamping machine several times to adjust the red-hot steel blank, but instead of forming it, it turned into a complete mess. After failing to remedy it with hand hammer blows, Morgan resolutely picked up the remaining spring steel from Travis and started recasting. At the same time, Marty also quickly completed the forging and began to polish the formed steel blank carefully. The competition was going on intensely, but the next moment an accident happened. The blade blank was directly cracked by Travis' hand hammer. After consideration, Travis immediately decided to recast it, but the remaining steel blank had been picked up by Morgan. Helplessly, Travis had to collect materials again. After heating the steel, Travis took it to the stamping machine for forging. In just half an hour, he recast a short knife. It not only had speed, but also guaranteed quality. The blade was straight and hard, surpassing the other contestants in one fell swoop. Before long, the contestants successively completed the quenching process. Tom's chopper boasted smooth curves and won high praise from the judges. Travis' recurved short blade featured a cool design, and most impressively, he forged it in just half an hour. This incredible speed left the judges present in awe. Although Marty's Saxon knife had a high degree of completion, its overly thin blade became a fatal flaw. Morgan added a false edge to his knife, and the grooved design of the guard was also eye-catching. After deliberate discussion, the judges informed Marty, who had obvious disadvantages, to pack his things and go home. The competition entered the second round. At the judges' order, the three contestants rushed to the material warehouse immediately. This time, they needed to complete the entire knife production within 2 hours. Travis chose black micarta, a highly malleable material, for the handle. Once prepared, he directly picked up a spray gun and began heating the material, then drilled holes smoothly. Travis moved nimbly back and forth, turning the entire venue into a spectacular fire show in an instant. Tom opted for a clip-on handle. He first cut the wood, then fixed the handle with resin and rivets. After careful consideration, Morgan decided to add a brass guard to his short blade, simply because it could maintain the balance of the knife. Having finished the handle, Morgan calmed down and meticulously polished the blade. After all three successfully completed their knives, the judges began the strength test. This time, the task was to cut tires. Morgan's knife was the first to take the stage. This short blade with a false tip and recurved edge successfully made the cut, but the blade edge curled. Next up was Travis' recurved short blade. The connection between the blade and the guard was flawless, and it performed perfectly in the strength test. Finally, Tom's chopper was tested. Cut smoothly, but the blade edge curled, and the excessive weight of the knife caused an imbalance in hand feel. In the end, after unanimous discussion by the judges, Tom left the competition regretfully. The remaining Morgan and Travis advanced to the ultimate showdown of this round. Who will ultimately claim the final victory? Stay tuned to find out.